This is the plaintiff, Haley Jackson. He says he gave his niece, the defendant, money to hold for him in case he had to go to jail due to a dispute with his landlord. Luckily, he got probation, didn't need to post bail, and when he asked his niece for the money back, she said no. No? That's right, she said no. He's suing for $250, the amount he's owed. This is the defendant, Akilah Graham. She says she's a paralegal, and her mother begged her to help her uncle out with his legal troubles. She did just that, charges $75 an hour for her services, and the money her uncle gave her needs to go towards her bill for the services she provided. Case closed. She's accused of stealing from an uncle.
Litigant Simon sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay. Hallie Jackson, you are suing Akilah Graham, your niece, for $250 in bail money that you had her hold for you, and according to you, she will not return. Tell me what's going on.
On about March 11, 2010, I gave my niece, Miss Akilah here, $250 to hold.
Why did you give her $250?
Well, I had a warrant. Well, before this happened, I thought I had a warrant after my arrest.
Okay, tell me about all your legal troubles that caused you to go to her. What was it that you had pending?
Oh, I had, for this trial, we had 2 other trials. There were 2 other cases before this.
How many cases did you have pending at the time when you went to her? 2, 3?
2, just 2, not this one.
Okay, how many warrants did you have out for your arrest?
Just 1.
Okay, so you were worried when you went to court that the judge would take you in?
Yes.
And why did you have a warrant out for your arrest? Because you didn't show up for court?
Didn't show up for court after that.
Why didn't you show up for court?
I had, this particular week, this is back during when President Obama was in town doing a campaign thing. This was 2 years ago.
Okay. In Denver.
And I had 2 other cases. I had 3 other cases this same week in court.
And you were busy with Obama?
No.
Why didn't you go to court?
All the excitement. The reason why I forgot all the excitement in town that week.
With all the excitement, you forgot you had to go to court?
I had 2.
So you got them all confused? I mean, what is the? I know that.
I went
if
down.
I got 3 cases, I'm really paying attention because I'm worried that there's going to be a judge out there mad. What were your charges?
That's threats, something like threats, like threatening someone.
Like threatening someone?
Yes, threatening someone.
What were the other 2 charges?
Those were the 2 court, but plus I had an eviction case that same week.
You had an eviction case, you had a charge of threatening someone, and what was the 3rd one?
It was 2.
2 charges of threatening. 2 different people or the same people?
The same people.
Okay. And did that have to do with the landlord or no?
The landlord, yes.
It did?
Yes.
The 2 threats were with the landlord?
Yes.
Okay. So, when do you enlist the help of your niece and why?
Well, this was almost 2 years later.
Okay.
And I finally decided to go on.
The excitement has subsided already on the whole, okay. And then you said, there used to be a court case around here. I know it's around here somewhere, and then you figured out you had a warrant?
Well, I got tired of looking over my shoulder. I forgot.
That's what I want to know, because I want to know what it's like to be you. Okay, so you spent 2 years going like this and trying to make sure not to run a red light.
That's right.
And trying to make sure not to get caught. And then finally, after 2 years, it caught up with you and you wanted to get it set aside. All right,
yes.
So now, you call your niece, and why do you pick her?
I told my sister she'd been knowing about that I had to go. And so I said, I need someone to just go sit in for more support to, because I'm going to give myself up. I'm tired of running. And so my sister called me. I guess my niece was over to her house and said, well, Akilah here will go down with you. So I said, yeah. So I've been already checked.
First of all, if it's moral support, one would think you would ask her yourself because you're close to her. Why didn't you just ask her yourself? And why did you pick her and not your sister to go with you if it's just moral support?
Well, my sister, she stays busy all the time. And, and
okay,
I know
why didn't you ask Akilah yourself?
Well, she's my niece. I raised her, so I can trust her. And
no, why didn't you ask her yourself? Why did you go through your sister?
Well, I was just talking about it.
Do you have a conversation with Akilah about going with you, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, and what is said during that conversation?
I asked her, I was over to my niece's house when I first talked to her about it. And she said no, or she didn't know what she wanted to think about it. But later on, a few days later, my sister called me and told me that Akilah was over to her house and wanted to talk to me about my going to court. So I talked to her. So I asked her, could she go? And she said yes.
Okay, and so you end up giving her $250 just in case what?
I went to jail.
Because you wanted her to be in a position to bond you out if
Yes.
you went to jail?
Yes.
Okay, and how did you pick $250 as the figure?
Well, I'd already checked. We've been checking with the bail department and said my bail was $2,500. So he said percentage of that would be around $250.
Okay, so you actually went to a bondsman and had that all settled up, and then we're going into court with her. So you had everything in place, and then you had given her the money, according to you, to bond you out of jail, just in case things did not go well. You go to court, and what actually happens?
Nothing was
Did
mentioned.
they end up taking you into custody?
No, nothing was
No.
mentioned.
And you end up, in fact, the judge ends up giving you a plea agreement to plead everything out to probation.
Yes.
And then you try to get the $250 back from her, and what does she tell you?
No.
Why did you keep the money?
I kept the money because I went to the courthouse with my uncle on numerous occasions, and I've told him that I was not doing that for free, and you need to pay me.
When did you first bring up the subject of payment?
I brought it up originally to my mother when she called me, and then when everything was over and he came to my house, I said, look, Uncle, I'm driving you around, this, and that. Eventually, you're going to have to pay me for this because, I cannot continue to just bail you out, come to court with you, and those kind of things. This
Okay,
is
now
not the
stop.
first time.
You said a couple of things there that I want to ask you about.
Yes.
When everything was over, you told him you have to pay me. At that point, you already had the $250.
Mm-hmm.
The $250 was then given to you just in case he went into custody so that you could be the one to bond him out.
Exactly.
The discussions you had about paying you for your services were between you and your mother originally and between you and him after the activity.
No.
Now tell me what you did that you feel you deserve the $250,
Okay.
that you earned it and that he should pay it to you.
All right. For one thing, I took him to my bailsman, and we decided what his bail was.
What is it you do?
I'm a paralegal, and I have a business called Cleopatra Jones Investigations.
Okay.
I also have a Secretary of State business, listed business.
Okay. So it's not so much moral support, you think?
No, it was
All right,
not
it's because you
moral
know the
support.
system. All right.
Yes.
So now you take him to your bail bondsman and?
We figure out what his bail is going to be on two issues. One was going to be $250, and one might be $125. So my bailsman figured it out, pulled up one case, couldn't pull up the other one. We sat there for about an hour and a half to 2 hours and discussed, what I should do because I'm not familiar with bail bondsmen. So I had to go to someone else, and I took him with me. In essence, he came to my house. I drove him to my bail bondsman. We had the conversation. The bail bondsman told me to go down to the courthouse and see if I could get them rescheduled, and maybe I would not have to pay the bail. He gives me the bail money at that time, okay? And we go down to the courthouse. Now, my uncle has dementia, short-term disability, or term issues, for which is what I told the judge, reason why some of those cases were dismissed.
Okay, when you come in, you're not a lawyer and you're not allowed to act like a lawyer.
No.
So you come in as his family member.
Yes.
And you say to the judge, oh, Judge, please don't throw the book at him. He has short-term dementia. What's the short-term dementia about?
His doctor's reports state that he does not remember short-term issues.
Okay.
So I could say to him, Uncle, you're going to pay me for this, and he could get mad, and we can keep going through this conversation, and he may not remember or not. I gave him a book and a pen and told him, you need to write down the dates of your court because you really need to be here, and if you cannot remember these things, here's a book and a pen, and you need to write everything down.
Okay.
I went to the courthouse, got those cases. If you see the information...
When you say you got them dismissed, what does that mean?
That means I went to the courthouse with him. I went to the court recorder, and I said, here is the paperwork that he has from his doctor stating the reasons why he may not have made it to court. Can we just reschedule the court cases? They said yes. That's why you'll see a dismissed warrant or released warrant on January 4th.
Okay, so the cases weren't dismissed. The warrants were set aside.
Were set aside and,
Okay.
and reissued court dates.
And then what happened?
They dismissed the case.
The entire case?
Yes.
Okay, and then what happened with the other two cases?
The other case, he had to go to the parole, of course. I did all of that, and I was supposed to go back to a 3/11 court date, but then he talked crazy to me in between us going from the courthouse to the probation office, and I called my mother on the phone and said, this is when we were having the money conversation. Okay, Lee, I told you you were going to have to pay me for this. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue you. I called my mother on the phone as we were walking to the probation office, and I was upset. And I understand you raised me, but I think my daddy raised me and him, okay, because he's my mother's brother.
And welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, does she have any leg to stand on in keeping this money? What do you think?
No, of course not.
Well, she's saying, look, I did this and that for him. I did all sorts of things.
No way. She doesn't supposed to keep the money.
Well, she says, my mom said I could keep the money.
Matter.
My mom said I could keep the money.
She agreed to pay it back.
Well, she actually just agreed to keep it for him. Now she wants to keep it.
Right. Well, she should give it back.
She should give it back. The question is, will she be forced to give it back going inside the courtroom?
Here's a problem that I have, though, Ms. Graham. It sounds like you did a lot for him. It sounds like you used your expertise, which is why he came to you.
He didn't come to me.
No, let me.
I'm sorry.
Listen to me. And if I were your uncle, I would pay you. But the issue in front of me, and I think you know this as someone who is familiar with the law, I have one issue in front of me.
Okay.
And that is there a contract or is there not? Not should there be a contract, should he feel a moral compulsion to pay you? I would never attempt to get those $250 back from her after everything that she did for me. I would just say, you know what, I'm so grateful, go out and get yourself something in my name. That's what I would do. But that's not how I rule. I rule how the law requires. Listen to what your testimony was. Okay. Your testimony was, I told my mother that he would have to pay me. Your mother's affidavit, which you submitted into evidence, says she told me she wanted to get paid. The two things missing from your testimony, and don't try to stick them in here now, because I was very careful and listening very carefully for it. The two things missing from the testimony from your mother and from you is there was an agreement beforehand that the $250 would go to my services.
Right.
And I appreciate it because I think that you were being honest, okay? What happened is he gives you the $250 for a totally different purpose, and when all is said and done, you feel you've earned it. But I cannot and you cannot impose a meeting of the minds and a contract because it feels right. A meeting of the minds and a contract has to happen beforehand. And unless he told you beforehand that he was going to pay you, then you cannot decide you got to get paid. So I have to order the $250 returned to him. Verdict for Mr. Jackson. Good luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, let's see what the defendant has to say about coming out on the losing end of this case. First of all, the judge's decision, according to the law, you get that.
I understand. I have contracts with all my other clients. He's my family, so I didn't do a contract with him.
Do you regret helping him out?
No
Would you do it? Would you do it again?
No way. No more.
Come on, it's family.
No. No.
What?
I did this for my mother.
Why? Well, why wouldn't you do it again for her?
Because I'm through. He's done too many things to me. I'm sorry.
You're just saying that now.
No, I'm really not. At a certain point, you have to tell your family, look, we're grown. It's even feel.
Okay. All right. All right, right down this way. All right, so you win the case. Now, what's legally right is one thing, and you won because you were legally right. But what about what's morally right?
It's morally right. She understood that was my money I needed for something else, and I feel good about it. I'm just sorry for my sister because I still love her as my niece because I raised her, and she grew up for her cousins, my kids, and I still love her.
She's out here saying never again, no more. You've abused her too much.
Personally, I don't care.
Harvey?
Okay, Kurt, this is a short story. A contract cannot be enforceable if it's made after the fact, after all the services are performed, after it's a done deal. You can't change the deal. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.